You're listening to the Marne Report.
Good morning. This is Dana McCain with the Marne Report. Thank you for joining us. My guest this morning is Addison Kruver, the web developer and our graphic artist for the Fort Stewart web team. Hi, Addison. How are you doing today?
Hi. Good. How about you, Dina?
Good. So you've been here about almost 2 years, and the changes that you have made to our online presence have been incredible. How did you make that happen?
Well, a lot of organization and a lot of hard work and just trying to make everything look prettier and be more presentable.
Right. And actually marketing to those younger people that are interested and get all of their news and information online. But you've been working on some other stuff, a project in particular you were telling me about. What was that all about?
So I'm actually using my GI Bill to go back to school to get a degree in usability and graphic design. And this week I had to turn in my final project for Drawing 101. And it was actually a black ink drawing of my best friend Tiffany in her wedding dress.
I saw that photo. It's absolutely beautiful. Anybody that wants to see it can go on Addison's Facebook page to see it. So drawing itself, I have no skill. But for those of you who do draw and do graphics for a living, where do you start with something like that?
Actually the painting I turned in was my fifth full-scale attempt. I started with 10 thumbnail sketches of looking at her direct observation, playing with different poses. I thought at first maybe she would be lying down on a couch or fixing her shoe or something like that. But I ultimately went with her turning around and zipping up her dress, almost ready to go.
Really? Why would you choose that?
I just loved the profile of her face. She's one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen up close. And, it was a perfect angle and proportion. When I first did my first 2 attempts at a full scale painting, I tried to do her in a much more realistic manner, which was definitely not, within my technical skills. I was using black ink, which is very unforgiving. You can't erase black ink. Once you put it down, you can't wash it away with water, nothing. So, once I finally got to, I guess, my 4th attempt, I realized that I needed to do something not realistic and a lot more stylized. So I used gesture lines and contour lines to show her wedding dress and her veil. I used very fine lines on her face, but then I used thicker lines on her eyes to emphasize her looking at the viewer.
I see. So you speak about unforgiving. So when you put pen or ink or paint to paper or whatever it is that you're painting on, like you said, it's very unforgiving. How does that translate to your skills as a graphic designer for the website, for instance?
Right. So those kinds of studies help me visualize negative spaces. There's something called Gestalt principles, which is kind of like a really good basis for web design, where basically says the viewer doesn't see items as individual items. It sees it as one of a whole. A good example of that would be the MWR logo. There's a bunch of little pieces all over it, but when you look at it as a whole, you can tell it's a world, it's a globe. And so when you're doing web design, you have to not think about just the one thing. You have to think about the entire page as a whole, bringing everything together. I'm a little limited on our website just because the theme and the colors and the layout are all kind of prescribed by NCOM, but I think I'm slowly making it work.
I'd say you're very successful at making it work. You have received many, many accolades from across the garrison and the 3rd Infantry Division, and we thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Dina.
Thank you.
Yeah, so our app is available on Google Play and iTunes, and it's basically a full directory and map of everything on Fort Stewart and Hunter. The way I do that is I actually drove around Hunter Army Airfield and Fort Stewart and pinged myself and put those. So when you go on the app and you look up at longitude and latitude, you will know that is me driving around. So if you see me in my blue Subaru Outback outside of your office, that's what I'm doing.
Please don't arrest her.
Please don't arrest her. But yeah, so it's available on iTunes and Google Play, and it's just called Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield. And it also has the Marne Standard on it. It has Smart PRT. It has gate information. Every time there's a training holiday, we always do notifications. I put my heart and soul into that app, and we actually just reached over 10,000 downloads. So
congratulations. Good job.
Thank you.
And for anyone who knows of someone that is coming here, someone that just arrived, please encourage them to download the Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield app, because as Addison said, there's a wealth of information on there, and anytime you see a place designated on there, you'll know that Addison had been there to ping your location.
Oh, and actually, speaking of newcomers, I actually worked with the Marne Reception Center, and they have their own space and screen on the app. So when people come to Fort Stewart or Hunter, they have to go through the Marne Reception Center, and every day of their 2 weeks here is lined out for them on the app. It tells them where they're supposed to be. They can GPS to that location, and they can kind of know where they're going. But also there's, like, for example, there's places that are within walking distance of the barracks. So if any of those soldiers want to go to the PX or need to go to clothing and sales, I wrote down how many feet they were away from the barracks. That way they would know what they're getting themselves into.
And how often do you update the app?
At least twice a week.
I see. Okay. Thank you for joining us for People and Places. You can find more information on the Team Stewart website at home.army.mil/Stewart or by downloading the mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
You're listening to The Marne Report.
Hello and welcome to the Marne Report, People and Places. I'm Dina McCain, and my special guest this morning is Addison Kruver, the Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield webmaster, to talk about the mobile app.